Ryan, there was no lack of urgency for Minnesota in Game 3 in any way. The reigning MVP in the house, early first quarter, Isaiah Hartenstein, no. Minnesota goes the other way, and if this was one play that could sort of epitomize what the game was like, it was that. Minnesota with stops, getting 2 loose balls, and taking advantage of every opportunity that came their way. And Anthony Edwards was a house of fire in the first quarter. Locked in from the jump, he hits the 3. Next Thunder possession, guess who? Guess what? Minnesota led by 9. Closing seconds of the first. Ant-Man, again, he went for 16 in the first 12 minutes. OKC had 14 as a team. Minnesota led by 20 after 1. They got it from the stars. They got it from the guys who haven't seen much burn here in the postseason, like Terrence Shannon Jr., former Illinois star by way of Texas Tech. He was an elite scorer in college. He was an unbelievable contributor in this game. And then Edwards, baseline, got it. Minnesota led by 32. Julius Randle, what a bounce-back game from the veteran. He's been such a pro over 11 NBA seasons. Minnesota led by 34. A ton of offense we're seeing here. But again, defense was the story. They were urgent from the jump. Oklahoma City could never respond. Minnesota led 72-41 at the half. Ryan, the Wolves shot 57% from the field for the game.
My goodness.
Edwards was brilliant. And the other huge story, after going 15 of 51 from deep in Game 1 and 11 of 39 from behind the arc in Game 2, Minnesota was 20 of 40 from three-point range in this one. Randle, step back, you don't know me like that. Randle went for 24. SGA never got it going offensively. And Minnesota never let their foot off the gas all game. Edwards 12 of 17 from the field in a complete blowout. Ant-Man and the Wolves have made this a series again. He spoke with Lisa Salters.
I was super happy. I wouldn't say proud. I was super happy about the physicality that we brought and the energy that we brought. Because being down 2-0, man, it's all about bringing energy, and we brought high energy.
You talked about unexpected production from guys like the rookie Terrence Shannon Jr., TJ is what you call him. Julius Randle got benched in Game 2. He said he had moved on and was going to come out and play aggressive tonight. Just what did you like about the way he responded?
He's a vet, man. A vet knows what to do. He knows how to respond. He knows not to take nothing too personal. And that's what he did, man. He came in with the right energy and shoot around this morning. And I can see it in his eyes, man. He wanted his respect back, and he got it.
How do you do it all again in 2 days on Monday night?
You got to erase this one. This one is over. I know everyone is happy about this one, but we know this team, OKC, going to come out and bring hella energy and be ready to go, and they're going to try to win Game 4, and we got to come out and exceed their energy and try to, get a win and go back to Game 5, so we'll be ready.
Congrats on the win to both of you.
Yeah, we just didn't bring it from an energy and focus standpoint. To sum it up, we just didn't have it. They obviously had it with the sense of urgency, knowing like if they go down 3-0, it's going to be pretty tough. And we just, what it felt like, just eased into the game, and they didn't, and they blitzed us pretty early, and then we were never able to get back because of it. But they just came out with a sense of urgency, and we didn't. And on top of that, when you play a really good team, it looks like that. So we got to come out with a sense of urgency, and then see where the game lays.
Michael, the Wolves took control of this game from jump. What was the biggest change you saw from Minnesota tonight compared to games 1 and 2?
A lot of people talk about Chris Finch. You have to make adjustments. What can you do differently? As a guy that's coached in this league, to me, it's not about what you do. It's more important in how you do it. And you could see from Jump Street, as you mentioned, Ryan, Minnesota was aggressive. They were physical. They were desperate. And they were urgent. Their defense on Shea tonight was outstanding. Anthony Edwards came out very aggressive on both ends. And the bottom line is, we talked about it. In Game 1 and 2, Minnesota turned the ball over. Tonight, they didn't do that. Their bench was phenomenal. Naz Reid made his first threes of the series. Terrence Shannon Jr. came into the game in the second quarter, had a huge impact. and they didn't put Shea on the foul line. So great job on Shea Gilgeous-Alexander with their defense, value in the basketball, Anthony Edwards being a superstar, and just an all-around great night. Now the challenge is, can you do it again in Game 4 to try to tie it up?
That's a great point. So how do they do it again in Game 4 and beyond? Because OKC has kind of owned this series up until this point, but Minnesota, maybe they found a cheat code.
Well, the cheat code is not beating themselves. You go back to the regular season, they beat OKC twice. They beat them tonight, and one of the key stats in those 3 wins is that they didn't beat themselves. They are the #1 defense, OKC. They turn you over. They lead the league in steals, so you know you can't fuel the break, and that's what happened in Game 1 and 2. Tonight, that wasn't the case. They forced OKC to play in the half court. They were more aggressive against Shea. They were more disciplined against Shea. And once again, their bench, which has been really good for them all year long, Naz Reid, Dante DiVincenzo, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and you have to give Chris Finch a lot of credit. He implemented a new player in his rotation, throwing out Terrence Shannon Jr., and it paid off dividends tonight. So they're not satisfied. They came back, protected their home court, and we know that OKC is going to be ready for all that come Game 4.
Okay, so let's talk about OKC getting ready for Game 4, and in particular their star. You talked about it. Held to just 14 points, only got to the line 4 times. You've said how good SGA is at getting to the line. So for him, for Game 4 and beyond, how does he handle the aggression that he saw tonight from Minnesota?
Well, now that you've seen it, now you have a feel for it. You watch the film. Mark Dagnall is a great coach in his own right. He'll get his team prepared. They'll talk about all their shortcomings, but he missed some open looks tonight. But I felt overall the Minnesota defense was a lot more aggressive tonight. Rudy Gobert had 2 steals in the first half, had a block in the paint. I thought he gave them some really valuable minutes. But, hey, Shea's an MVP for a reason. Coming off of a 38-point game, we know he's going to find his rhythm, but it's not just about Shea. In Game 2, he had help from Jalen Williams. He had help from Chet Holmgren. He's going to need other guys to step up to make his job easier.
Boy, Julius, there are performances, and then there's what your team delivered tonight. How would you describe the level of defensive intensity your team played with for 48 minutes?
That's what it's going to take. That's what it's going to take, and that's what we're capable of, to be honest. It just takes a mental focus for us and know that they're a great team, and we got to play like how we played tonight for a full 48 minutes. We've done it through stretches, done it in stretches throughout the first 2 games, but we had to put a full 48 minutes together, and that's what we did.
All right, so how repeatable is this? I mean, how do you repeat a performance like this?
I think defense, you can repeat that every night. That's who we are. That's how we've played all year. That's our identity as a team. So I feel like we can repeat that defensively. And then offensively, it's just about making the right play and sharing the ball.
Which you did a lot of tonight. You particularly, you go for 19 through 3 quarters, Julius, and then the bank shot to start the 4th quarter and the 3-pointer for you. Given how things went in Game 2, what was that sequence and that standing ovation like?
It was great. It was great. It's amazing to be back in front of our home crowd, to, have that energy in the building. So we knew we had to come out right and play with energy, and, they definitely gave us some juice tonight. So for us, it's always about the bounce back, how we shake back, and we definitely did that tonight.
Yeah, and then Julius Ant goes for 16 in the first quarter. He outscores OKC all by himself. He goes for 30 on a night where obviously he didn't play big minutes. When did you get the sense that it was going to be one of those kind of nights for him?
And it's always locked in. It can always be that kind of night for him. He's special. There's nothing that anybody can do to slow him down or stop him. We just got to continue to help him and, play the game smartly and just make it easy for us. So it's that kind of night for Ant every night. He's that special.
And I got to ask you this. You get 66 points from the bench, and it's Naz Reid, but it's also Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and it's, my goodness, Terrence Shannon. How were they able to have such an impact?
Man, they just stay ready. They stay ready. Those guys are so mentally tough. They never let 1 or 2 games get them down. They keep working. And, man, shout out TJ. TJ, man, he ain't really been in a rotation, but we all as a team know what he's capable of. And for him to come out have his number called and be ready and show up and play the way he did, man, it was a huge, huge energy boost for him. So for us as a team, so shout out TJ, man. I'm super proud of him.
Look, if there was any question how the Wolves would respond at home after 2 dismal performances in OKC, we got that answer real quick in a hurry, especially Anthony Edwards, 16 points in that first quarter. What changed for them?
I just thought there was the appropriate level of energy you have to have against Oklahoma City. I didn't see that in games 1 and 2. That meant there was no swagger there. The swagger was there from the beginning. Their best player came out and got them started, as you mentioned, with Anthony Edwards. I thought that set the tone for their entire team. You tend to relax when you know your best player's in a good place. And his aggressiveness, getting out in the open floor, his first 2 dunks of the series he got in that first quarter, and his step-back 3 was working. That dual threat. Anthony Edwards gave us that. Another thing, though, I think that mattered, Michael, in their zone defense that they played in game 2. I thought it put a passive mentality into their heads. This is a team full of athletes. Right. They've got size. They've got lateral speed. You might not be able to beat Oklahoma City in a series, but I think the best bet is to turn them loose against those guys. Man up, take the challenge, use your activity and your athleticism. They did that tonight. The activity level was off the charts. Yeah. And I thought it really kind of throttled Oklahoma City. They just did not get any rhythm whatsoever in this game.
So let's go to the other side, because you mentioned how when your best guy is playing well, you feel more confident. Yes. The Thunder didn't have that. Their best player, the league MVP, 4 for 13 in this game was Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Obviously, that has to change in Game 4, but what led to that here in Game 3?
Well, there's no doubt that they had him targeted as a priority. We're not going to let you come down and get these high ball screens, these brush screens, and just eat us up right down the center of the floor, getting to your sweet spots, which means either a pull-up jumper or getting to the foul line. 4 free throw attempts in this game. He had 28 in the first 2 games. So they played him without fouling. But more importantly, they just committed extra bodies to his driving paths, forced kickouts. Oklahoma City is not a high-volume three-point shooting team. I think Minnesota made a determination. We're not watching that anymore because the 38 he got in Game 2 was easy. Everything about it was literally looked like a practice performance. I think they saw the film. They took it personally. They were going to load up on Shai on the edges of the lane, force the kickouts, get closeouts with a hand up, and they were going to count on the fact that Oklahoma City was not going to make enough threes to beat them. Right. Now, the game got so out of hand in the second quarter. Didn't matter, we'll never really know, but the tone was set. How they wanted to approach this game was very effective, and as we are saying, they're back in the series.
NBA,